What's up, everybody, and welcome. We'll let everybody kind of get situated, kind of fill up this room a little bit, and then we will get started.
Grooving, dude. Like, you keep playing the best hits of my life.
I don't know what 2010, something like that, 2015, and you're just vibing. I don't know what 2010, something like that, 2015, and you're just vibing.
Yeah, man. It feels like Monday for sure.
Yeah, you said I think you said this song you used to actually DJ with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great one.
It keeps the head bobbing, gets a good vibe.
Yes, sir. I agree 100%.
Does it actually come in pretty clear?
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Okay. Well, I never want it to be overly powered, and one day last week actually kept on the music in the background, but then I have to leave my mic on the whole time to be able to do it like that. So I'm probably going to turn it off today. I don't want people to be like, "Oh, TRADERVERSE's sound, it's so annoying." I don't want it to be upset there. So
no, I think it's a good volume for being background music because you don't want it to be too loud. I've played music before, and then people started messaging me. They're like, "Bro, it's so loud. Like, what are you doing?"
So you think
I like some Boots and Cats for sure.
So you've tried the music before, huh?
Yeah, like just because, it's really quiet and stuff. And I see West Coast Closer in here. Hey, Matt. And then so for his spaces, like he tells me to play, I think he told me to play Goosebumps, I think. And then so I'll play it while I'm like arranging the room and getting all the hosts in and whatever. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I love it." Like, because it's like intro music that gets you hyped up, right? To start your spaces, and it gets people hyped up. And it's better than the awkward silence.
Well, especially because in spaces, it seems to be that just every now and then the conversation dies, even if it's for just 5, 6, 7 seconds. But that 5, 6, 7 seconds seems real awkward if there's not any just audio playing. So I do like it like that. But it keeps me from muting and unmuting my mic. But that's all right.
Absolutely.
Dom, hello, Dom. Dom was in.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, Dom was in my Motivational Mondays spaces earlier.
How'd that go?
It was good. We had Tim Cook's the one that hosts it, but I think somebody hacked his account.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah.
I seriously thought this was the same space. I just clicked on it.
No, oh my gosh. So this room, we're going to talk about how the all-time highs with Bitcoin and Ethereum. You're so funny, Dom.
Following Christine around. No problem with that, though. So we will talk a little bit about all-time highs. If you don't mind, in that bottom right-hand corner, you can see the little tweet button. Maybe tweet out this room, get as filled up as we can. But it's over the last 24 hours. ETH hit a all-time high. Got about $4,800. So we've hit an all-time high there. I thought we actually hit the all-time high of Bitcoin in the last day, but there's a link if any of y'all want to, or Christine, if you get a chance, if you can pin that link. There's a link that CoinGecko puts out that puts the amount of time since the all-time high. It's on my Voice of DeFi account. I tweeted it out. But so for Bitcoin, it's actually been 19 days since we've officially, at least from CoinGecko, hit the all-time high at 67,276. So we're about 1,000 under that right now. Maybe this very spaces could push it over to get that all-time high.
I wish.
I said in Discord this morning, hot take, we're hitting 70K this week. I really think we are. Bitcoin dominance is, it starts around this time, and I know we've had not necessarily the most traditional cycle, especially with all these meme coins. The community is really supporting those. You don't see the typical die out, but I think Bitcoin dominance is going to be coming, and I think we're going to break 70 this week. Don't quote me, not financial advice, but 70 coming this week.
70 coming this week. All right. You heard it there first. No, I'm excited about where we are right now because we've got the two leaders in Bitcoin and ETH, and both of them are either at the all-time high. I mean, the all-time high for ETH from this site says 1 hour ago. So it's just dollars short of it right now. And then Bitcoin is hovering around there. And we could hit 70 pretty easily this week. I don't know that would be too big of a jump. And who knows where from there. Once you hit that all-time high, you're kind of in price discovery mode where you're going to find out where the new ceiling is, and the market will dictate that. Yeah, and then aside from those, we can even mention the other, like BNB. It's at 650 right now, and its all-time high is 686. We haven't seen that in 6 months.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're going to see a lot of all-time highs in a lot of tokens. AVAX just 3 hours ago hit an all-time high. So yeah, all over the board, we're seeing. I mean, this is a bull run. This is exactly what we expect to happen. Christine, have you seen? I know you've been in a lot of spaces in the last week or so. Has the excitement level really been high through this bull run through the all-time highs?
So in the spaces that I've been, they haven't really been talking about like the all-time highs, which is strange because you would think so, but I think because it's been like a day or two. I know that a lot of people seem to be super bullish on a lot of the altcoins, right? And I feel like thanks to Bitcoin and Ethereum, because when it runs, I mean, like the whole market kind of runs and it gains excitement, And I know Josh is up here and he has a lot of knowledge on crypto and stuff. Josh, what are you thinking?
Hey Christine, hey TRADERVERSE, thanks for bringing me on. This is the first time I'm on your spaces, but yeah, it is at an all-time high. It's pretty exciting. Personally, for me, who trades a lot of NFTs, it's not that great because when ETH is ripping, the money flow is out of NFTs and into ETH. But I mean, that's also the similar trend for Bitcoin and all of that. As in, we're going to see a huge pump in Bitcoin and ETH. From there, the money flow is going to be out of those altcoins and into other coins. So, but yeah, because everyone's traders here, or the niche of the room is trading, I'll try and focus on a trading perspective. So, I mean, from a fib retracement, if you see that, um, like you can see ETH, the previous all-time high when it hit around 4,100, 4,200, and then it retraced back down. We saw it, it was a spot on bounce at the 0.38 level. So now we've just broken out of the all-time high level, including the new 1.48 level, which, well, on this chart, it's the 0.5 level. So I guess that we're going to trade sideways now for a while, and potentially maybe this bull run, we could see a 7K ETH. And again, as Smart Rick said, none of it is financial advice. Everything is speculation. Everything is looking at Fibonacci's and charts, something that sort of worked for me in the past, as in even for ETH, right? When it was at $4,000, there were so many traders who were saying that, ETH's never going to stop running up. But from a FIB perspective, I already sort of charted it and set up dip buy levels. So like, okay, it's going to dip by somewhere around $1,900 or $2,000, but it ended up dipping to 1,750. And well, but that was my dip buy level, and it was a very great dip buy level. And yeah, everyone who bought in and are holding from that, well, they've accumulated a lot for the next run up. But yeah, those are my thoughts on ETH, and I do think no amount will work if ETH does speed up its version 2.0 and launches, because with the adoption increasing, it reduced their gas fees. Oh, it's just going to go crazy then in terms of adoption. But yeah, that's my overview or 2 cents on what ETH is now and where it's headed.
Man, you see right where this conversation is headed too, because right with the all-time high, we want to talk about gas fees today as well. And you said two things that were interesting to me. One of them is you said a lot of times you're in the NFT space and you find that this run-up, you almost made it sound like it was discouraging or something for the NFT space. Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. So think about it like this, when we're at all-time highs in the market, for example, let's take an example of Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was trading last time, we had the three peaks, all-time high, all-time high, all-time high. So the RSI, if you see the RSI, it's sort of the relative strength index. It was on a general downtrend, People don't focus on that. So even though it's still setting new all-time highs, but it's sort of a distribution phase. I don't know if you're familiar with the Wyckoff model. So essentially, it's money that's flowing out of that into all the other coins. So my perspective on that is ETH is now the major altcoin, with all the projects on ETH, all the NFTs are on ETH. So when ETH is sort of like, on a downtrending path. So recently, ETH hit $4,000 and then we downtrended back to $2,700. It was this small period in time where NFTs absolutely went through the roof, because people are accumulating more ETH, they're trading it for higher ETH. You just have people, because ETH is downtrending, they're not looking on trading, but they're investing in stuff which will eventually help them to accumulate more ETH for the next run up again. So when ETH does begin trending upwards, you essentially look at a lot of NFT traders who want to sell their NFTs, and they want to sit in ETH, they want to be a part of that run up. And again, when we're beginning stabilizing or sideways trading, so well, again, money flows back into ETH so they can accumulate more. So that's sort of how the money flow works in crypto. For Bitcoin, it's into altcoins and smaller alts, and now with ETH, it's into other projects and NFTs and back into ETH again. So that was the perspective I was laying out. And yeah, I mean, right now the NFT hype has sort of not yet died out. So when I was sort of, the discouraging tone, a lot of my money has flown into NFTs, but I haven't cashed out yet. So with ETH breaking all-time highs, you have the NFT market that's sort of low and very slow. And that has to do a lot with gas as well. So, but yeah, that was my perspective.
That's great insight. I don't know that I would have even put two and two together like that, but as you explain it, and as the run up happens, and people are so excited for NFTs, but they're really excited and they want to be part of the run up as well. Yeah, I've never considered that it might affect human behavior basically, and might make people want to liquidate.
Absolutely.
Josh is really smart, dude. I heard him in one of the OTC club. I think it was the NFT talk on Thursday, and I was just taking notes, like, yes.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Shark Tank gif.
Yeah. Talk. Hi.
How's it going?
Are you trading?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trading. I'm always day trading, but I saw you guys in here talking about Ethereum.
Yeah.
So just
Can you give us your thoughts on the all-time highs on Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Yeah, I mean, I think the market sentiment for crypto looks good. I'm really like a momentum and theme trader in the markets, especially. Obviously, I've increased my crypto exposure a lot over the last few years, but I really think the momentum in cryptocurrencies in general is really strong going into the end of the year. Typically October through December, just seasonality wise, is a good time for anything speculative. We always get that Santa Claus rally headed into December, or we usually do at least. And I think last year, coming out of the pandemic, the rally we saw in crypto, off the bottoms. Like, I mean, last year Bitcoin, you could have gotten it for as little as 5,000 just last year. That's crazy to think about. You could have got Ethereum for $100 just last year. Like, thinking about that is, people see these cost bases on certain people, and they're like, "Oh my God, when did you buy it? Like 5 years ago?" And a lot of these people are like, "No, I just literally bought it last year." But so I think that there was opportunity for a lot of retail traders to get in last year who have now become really loyal crypto holders, and I think that that's responsible for a lot of this. This run in Bitcoin has been a lot more stable than the bull runs in the past. I mean, even despite the volatility, it's had a lot better level definition. It's consolidated on key levels, for longer periods of time. There are signs to me of like an improving shareholder base. Like, even when I'm trading stocks, I look for stocks that have given multiple opportunities for people to get into the stock at a good value, and that creates, it lowers the effective float, because when you're thinking about cryptos, right? Like, there's only a limited amount of Bitcoin that'll ever be mined, and because of that, there is an effective free float the same way there is for stocks. And the more holders you have, the better chance you have for longer periods of consolidation and then bigger upside moves, right? Like, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the breakout. That's always been true for any kind of asset that's publicly traded. So I really love the sentiment in crypto going forward. I think Bitcoin to 100K soon is inevitable. I think Ethereum to 10K probably early next year is very inevitable. Outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, though, I think a lot of the other projects are going to have to develop that level of loyalty in the shareholder base to have the same level of price consolidation and breakouts that Bitcoin and Ethereum have been able to do. But yeah, I think it'll take a while for some of the other, alternative projects, altcoins, even some of these meme coins and shit coins. I mean, it took Doge circled out probably hundreds of holders before, got to that 25-cent level. Like, so there's always the factor of shareholder bases, and in crypto, I think with the momentum you're seeing over the course of the last year and a half, especially, like, I think it's really bullish, and more institutional adoption. But to me, really, the crux of the crypto argument always comes down to not necessarily the institutional adoption or the corporate adoption, which obviously helps, and we've seen a lot of that this year. Whether it's the Bitcoin ETFs or Square and Tesla putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, or MicroStrategy basically going from a software services company to now basically just a Bitcoin company. We've seen the corporate adoption for sure. We're seeing the institutional adoption. The next step to me really is streamlined government adoption, and that doesn't just mean regulation. For me, in my opinion, for the use case of Bitcoin especially, Ethereum I think can thrive either way, but for the use case of Bitcoin especially, and really any other currency-driven assets, when you're talking about like these utility coins or currency coins that are supposed to have a use case, I think the big question is government adoption, and not by El Salvador. I mean by like real governments with real power. And that is the crux of the question. That's always, I am a crypto bull, but I always like to keep both sides, and that's the one bearish outlook I've always had is, what at what stage do the biggest governments in the world put their hands up and say, all right, we're going to forfeit our control of the money supply, and let people transact through Bitcoin in every avenue of life. Like, I don't know if and when that's going to happen, and I don't know if it doesn't
Stock
happen.
Talk, I think your phone cut out.
Oh, did it? Where did it cut out at? I don't know.
Now we can
Oh,
still
no,
hear you.
I heard him.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Maybe it was just for Christine. But yeah, I think government adoption is really the crux. Like, at what stage does cryptocurrency? I mean, we're talking about, I think the value of all cryptocurrencies last week passed 3.1 trillion for the first time ever. So that's a lot of money. But at what point does the net value of the world's assets in cryptocurrency pose a danger to countries like China, the United States, India, the United Kingdom, countries with, trillions and trillions of dollars of economic influence over the global economy? At what point do those countries feel threatened by cryptocurrency? I don't know if they already do. I don't know if that'll happen when it hits a 10 trillion crypto cap. I don't know if it'll happen when it hits a 20 trillion crypto cap. I don't know. But what I do know is I hesitate to believe that the world governments are just going to be like, yeah, you guys win. I don't know. I
No,
would say that's my negative outlook. And for the most part, I am bullish, but that's my only caveat.
I think that's fair to mention, to say that, hey, when's a major government going to actually be able to give up that kind of power? And I mean, we'll see. And I do think maybe we will get there. There will be, some mid-tier government that probably wants to try it first. But yeah, I can agree with that sentiment. One thing you said early on that I wanted to mention that has to do with the all-time high conversation is, you said, we kind of can sometimes see this Santa Claus run getting into November and December, and it could make these all-time highs we're seeing with Bitcoin and ETH and a lot of other tokens and coins, really go high. And I agree with that. And I think it's kind of a silly reason why, at least in the States, in the United States. It's where, you meet with your family during Thanksgiving and Christmas, and, Uncle Bob and Aunt Sally are saying, I've heard about this Bitcoin thing. And, you are we're all going to be the experts at the dinner. And, they ask about it and they start wanting to invest in it because they get that FOMO. They want to start getting, involved. To me, that's what you really see go above and beyond of an all-time high. And I think that's what we saw in 2017 to 2018. And as much as press as cryptocurrencies are getting over the last few months, I think we're going to see that happen towards the end of the year too. Is that generation that may not be very interested in crypto is going to start getting really interested again, maybe to their detriment. I don't know, because they may be the ones that drive it to 100K, and maybe
Yeah.
they right at 100K.
It's the word of mouth effect, right? Like, financial ideas, you can text your friend, hey, buy this stock or buy this crypto, right? And maybe your friend will, but like financial ideas, just historically, this is just more of a psychological point. Financial ideas, or, people investing their money or making financial decisions, it's always better conveyed in person. And so when you have like, everybody with their families over a 2-month period, like you said, like the word of mouth is just better conveyed. And that might seem like a silly point to make, but it is true. And that's typically why you see these Santa Claus rallies, is because, twofold, actually. The main primary driver is institutions who may have underperformed the market or underperformed other institutions. Managers who are looking for bonuses are looking to be more risky going into the end of the year because they want that upside potential. So that's been part of it. But it's also this word of mouth effect with people congregating with large groups of people, whether it's their family or friends, and sharing ideas. I mean, that's, the dawn of cryptocurrency really came from word of mouth. Before you had your Coinbases and these big exchanges where people can just make an account and buy cryptos, it was, when it was harder to get into cryptocurrency years ago. That's really what drove the entire trend, was just word of mouth and people telling their friends, yo, you need to get into Bitcoin, or hey, you need to get into, like, the reason I ever got into Bitcoin was years ago. One of my buddies was just pounding the table every single day, every time I saw him. So I think, like, that's big.
Right. That means he told you at first, and maybe you said, yeah, whatever. But it sounds like he was persistent.
Exactly.
I think another reason is in December, especially near Christmas, we start to see a real big slowdown in the stock market. People, getting as many losses as they can to cover their taxes, and the short market, it's people love to trade, period. So I think that also is, but that's just a secondary effect. I agree with what you guys are saying. The holidays, people are getting together.
That's a good point about stocks and people, taking losses for tax reasons and things like that. And maybe that effort gets shunted over, if they're not trading as much or something like that, it gets shunted over to crypto too. But yeah, word of mouth, huge. And it's mainly with that older generation that probably isn't in Twitter Spaces, but I invite them to be in here. Come on in here, older generation. Joshua, you had your hand up. What's up?
Hey, yeah, no, I wanted to chime in on something that Stock Talks was talking about. This has to specifically do with what he said, with governments getting involved and, giving up that power. First thing I'm going to say, I'm never of the sentiment. I do not believe that it's possible that they would give up the power. And the reason, but I still see mainstream adoption coming in. Having said that, what I'm meaning to say is that centralized banking institutions are definitely coming into crypto. And the evidence for that is currently it's inside info, as in if you're a part of a bank or if you know someone who works in European banks somewhere around central banks or head offices, they've already been approved, permits to enter into the cryptocurrency space by 2024. And essentially what I see happening is, right, it's because of two specific reasons that people like simplicity. Right now, getting into crypto, even though, Coinbase and all the exchanges are making it very easy, it's still going to be hard for quite a lot of people. So what I see happening here is, banks coming into play, making it very easy and taking the middleman's cut. And at the end of the day, again, it's the government, central banking, and all the branching out banks, and that's sort of how the entire financial system runs. And at the end of the day, it's the government who's going to provide this, and the middleman fees or anything like that is sort of what's going to help them make it. So, and specifically when you talked about El Salvador adopting Bitcoin, things like that, I actually don't see it a viable option for Bitcoin to be used in daily transactions, primarily because of the fees and the carbon footprint that each transaction takes. So, but what I do see happening is new upcoming stable coins that's coming with the specific purpose of being transacted. I see them rather making it into the currency fit. And there's a few small projects I actually have my eye on. I don't want to shill it here, but yeah, I do not see it as a viable option for Bitcoin to potentially make it as a transactional currency. Even XRP, despite being centralized, can potentially make it there. But yeah, it's unlikely that Bitcoin would be used heavily in smaller transactions. It's going to be very hard given its carbon footprint per transaction and also the fees. So that's sort of my outlook on long-term Bitcoin adoption.
Yeah, the fees will definitely hold it back, and transaction, block size, time, and things like that would definitely hinder that from being the case. That being said, I know they're working with layer 2 and things like that, and maybe they can come up with some sort of solutions for all the problems that you said. But it's got its challenges for sure. But in the end, it's just really about power. Is a government willing to give up the power that they have with a centralized system?
Yeah, the whole modern monetary theory, is something that I like to study and I think is really interesting about, and it kind of goes alongside of giving the people the power of money. And we could talk about government spending and we can talk about all this other stuff, but that's counterproductive to this space. But I think you're right, and I think it's going to take more of these El Salvador like countries to have success. And I know a lot of countries in Africa really rely on Bitcoin as a means to store their, what's the word? Like very volatile, currency is a better place where they can do international business. And I don't think we'll ever really see Bitcoin used in a day-to-day, peer-to-peer kind of thing. And I think unit bias will start to, kind of peer its way into Bitcoin with retail, and it'll kind of be, more of a balance sheet item, and more of a store of wealth or store of, value, like most people preach. So yeah, I think there's plenty of other currencies out there that will be more of your checking account. I know I stole that from David Goldstein. He likes to use that term. The checking account crypto that you use frequently. So
Love that. Joey, 216, you had your hand up. What's up?
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. I kind of, in a way, it makes sense in my head, but hopefully it doesn't come out too convoluted. I want to pull together what Joshua had first said with where the conversation is right now. So I've also been of the mindset that actually, like, I dabble in small cap DeFi projects, and with the run up of NFTs, you saw that it was to the detriment of those projects. So now that everything is pouring back into DeFi as derivatives of coins running up, you are starting to see a lot of money come out of NFTs. So what I actually think will happen in this next, if there is a bear market, instead of people pulling to stable coins, they're actually going to view NFTs as dollar value And instead of going to stable coins and pulling out of the market, they're just going to go into NFTs as a shelter from losses. So what that's actually going to do, it's going to, in my opinion, it's going to act as kind of like a hedge. And it also should be seen as not incurring a tax, because all you really are doing is trading one derivative of ETH into another. It's like trading uncirculated gold for the same weight, just in a different form that has no other value. So with that being said, I don't really see stable coins gaining much traction, and I also don't think it's any coincidence you see governments approaching attacking stable coins for when people pull out of the market. They only go to the ones that they are able to track, also going to centralized exchanges, and even furthermore, adding the term brokerage to the infrastructure bill, because anybody that is seen to be a broker, i.e. decentralized exchange, will then be considered a felon. I also think it's no coincidence that you see the SEC jumping the gun and calling NFTs securities.
Right.
But I don't think that holds any weight with communities or holders, and they will run to NFTs. And that's why I wanted to put that all together to ask Joshua, based on that, if you believe this to be a run up to a bearish market very soon, would this not be a great opportunity to get into the NFT space and leverage a lower price, and therefore being able to flip when others see it as a quote bear market, end quote?
Yeah, hey, no, so th that was actually what I was trying to say is usually when ETH does begin, like, so if you just go on the daily charts for ETH, and zoom out a bit, we bounced out from $2,694, and there's been barely small corrections, and it's just been blowing up to 4,700. Now, if you were an NFT trader and you had the foresight, or, you just knew fibs, or you just see the market sentiment and price shifting, you as well, a whale NFT holder, you would sell out. So see, unlike a lot of ETH, BTC, which is also controlled by a lot of whales, NFTs also do have a similar outlook where there are two decisions, sort of two factors that factor into the decision of whether NFTs are heavily traded or sold off. And one, in my opinion, is the price of ETH. The second thing is also the gas fees. So lately, when ETH has been blowing up, the gas has also been insanely high. So it makes trading hard, and people don't want to lose money on gas fees. And at the same time, they just want to hold on to their ETH so that they can take part in the growth upwards, right? So now, say ETH from around 4.7 or 5K, you see a dip downwards and you sort of see it trading sideways. That's sort of where I see the volume increasing. So it's essentially at that point in time when you see the shift around the market, or where you see a correction coming in, where I see volume increasing. And it's not just me, but if you just get on NFT Twitter, right, and you start searching and see, what people are talking about NFTs or the volume in the NFT market, it's literally the sentiment. They're like, oh, ETH is going to 5K. Let's just be a part of that run up. And as soon as they sort of see it dipping, when you use that ETH to get back into NFTs, you sort of have like, let me give an example. Bored Apes at one point in time was like a 42 ETH floor, and that was when ETH was all the way back in 2600. Yeah. So now we're seeing a run up, and you have people offering a lot less because ETH is valuable a lot more. So they're investing, and they're sort of offering lower and lower until someone accepts that offer, and that's going to go on until ETH sort of goes and breaks all-time highs. But the moment that ETH starts going back down, you have all of those guys wanting to jump back into the NFT markets. So the floor prices also go up. So I mean, that just is the human psychological perspective of how the NFT markets could potentially work with regards to how the price of ETH moves. So from that standpoint, me personally, I'm waiting. Like, I do have a little ETH as well myself, and I'm going to be looking for when there's going to be a sideways trade on ETH, because I do see a correction upcoming, not almost instantaneously, but it definitely is coming. And around that time is where I see the NFT market again picking up volume.
You guys are kind of, that's kind of a different way of thinking. And I like this. I always think that exactly what you're saying is everything's being moved into stablecoin. It'll go into Tether, to DAI, or wherever. But the idea of people moving it into the NFT space, and if NFT space, maybe from the way you're saying it, may have not even seen its pinnacle this year. I guess it depends when a bear market would happen. But yeah, that's a definitely different way of thinking. And anyway, I like it. I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, I agree 100% with the NFT sentiment there. I mean, a lot of these NFT communities are becoming DAOs, and to be active members in their community and have your vote and have your say in what that community is doing, which in the bigger picture could be doing something really big.
And if you're part of that community, you're working towards that goal, there's immense value in that as well. So being able to take part in owning these NFTs can really open the door for people to participate in these DAOs. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. And I think the projects that do that well and have great goals going forward, they're going to have a great price floor still, and we're going to see more people wanting to get in, which is going to bring up those values regardless of what ETH is, because people want to be in the cool club, just like Joshua said with Bored Ape. People want to be in those circles, and there are tons and tons of cool upcoming communities that none of us even know about that are in the dark shadows, building what they're building. So I really like that point, Joshua, and I don't think enough people talk about that.
Well, I kind of liken it to people trade gold, people trade silver, but there's actually a lot of people trade the gold to silver ratio. So the problem you're going to have is marketing such an idea to kind of mitigate any kind of panic that may come in the bear market, and people are like, I'll just run to a stable coin. If you can sell that as a taxable event, but then that incurs additional paranoia in the space, which you don't want. So it'd be kind of good if somebody to come out with a chart of NFT to DeFi ratio, or even just store of value ratio. That way people can read where they want their money to be, but it'll always stay within derivatives of their respective coin, whether it be ETH, Solana, etc. But I also think all of this will lead to us being early in the space, being able to get educated and capitalize on what's coming. Could also be in the form of becoming a validator node runner, because that's going to be the natural expansion of the space.
Excellent. Well, yeah, it's been really interesting hearing you guys talk about this, but we keep on talking. One phrase has been said that I wanted to talk about today too, and that is gas fees. They're on ETH, they're so high now. We're getting to an all-time high in the price itself, but then gas fees are really big. If you look at Etherscan and just their gas tracker, just right now at this moment, it's $181 for a Uniswap swap. Just for a ERC20 transfer, it's almost $60. Really expensive to move currency around on ETH. Do you guys ever think that that's actually going to hinder either the market as a whole of ETH, or even just the NFT market? Or do people just say that's the price, that's the cost of doing business, and they deal with it?
Can you guys hear him?
Yeah, who's speaking?
No, he's not speaking.
No, we can't hear him.
Very soft.
It's $250, but the gas fee's $600 to swap it to Ethereum, so I'm stuck with it.
$250, you said, is the gas fee?
No, $600. I have $200
Mike,
Yeah,
your
mic
is not working well.
Yeah, you're just cutting in and out. That's why I was having trouble hearing the dollar figures you were saying. But I think I get the gist of what he was saying, and that's that you can have something so small, and I say so small, it's a couple $100, $250, and then it costs maybe more than that to even just move it. And that gets to be a real problem. Where, to move a small amount of money, the transaction fee is enormous. And I think that's discouraging to people, especially new people in the space that see that's what it costs. It's supposed to be a great G that was cheap to send money. Do you guys think that'll end up being a problem? Turbo, I see your hands up.
Hey, yeah, I think to a certain degree. Oh, I should say hi. What's up, guys? What's up, Zach, Christine, Dom's in the house. We got West Coaster. This is like Rockstar Group right here. Thanks for having me up. But Dan, yeah, I think to a certain degree, it is the cost of doing business, but it is, I think, very important that people consider the utility that comes along with it. If there's really awesome utility, then it's worth it, especially if you can take it in metaverse at a decentralized kind of environment, and that is certainly what we're doing. The timing's great, right? ETH's very high, and we're actually releasing on our debut on Thursday. So with us, for example, with our NFTs, you also get the Ape Club video game. So you're now going to have ownable characters that you can play in video games and create value for yourselves that way, right? And in terms of the metaverse that we've built, it would be a DAO, and that's really something that's exciting because we can create these e-commerce opportunities for any NFT holder where they can go in and set up shop and sell fungible assets, and they walk with that money. So this is really going to shake up everything. I come from the entertainment world. Been a director for years, and I can say that they're falling over themselves trying to figure out how to navigate this because the whole script has been flipped, right? Like it's revolutionary that individuals can now own IP. It's like you're owning Mario in Mario Brothers, for instance. So that's really exciting for us. But the gas fees, that is kind of the cost of doing business and is an unfortunate situation right now. But it just depends on what kind of value you're getting.
And that's what these
Yeah,
spaces
TradeVerse, I just want to make a comment here. I think that was really insightful. Just in terms of the gas fees, right? So, does anyone know about non-cash charitable contributions, right? So, in the past, if you had like something that was, not a collectible, right, but it was like an art piece, and you were an art investor, and you made a charitable contribution to a charity, then that charitable contribution could be valued at fair market value. It was a non-cash donation. So what it means at fair market value is, like, let's say you bought it for $1, but now it's worth $10. The charitable contribution that you're making to the charity on your tax return would be $10, right? But I guess now with this new law, they're treating some digital assets as cash specifically for broker dealers. But I don't know. Here's my whole question is, I don't know, do these gas fees, will they apply for non-cash charitable contributions? And if not, is Ethereum treated as a non-cash charitable contribution, or would it just be, treated as cash just like everything else?
Man, that's really interesting to talk about. One thing we want to do in this, which, by the way, I'll tell you what this space is and how often we will do it. But I'd like to have an AMA with like a tax expert to answer questions like you just said, because I don't have that answer of how it would be treated exactly. But Rick's in here, who sometimes he's looking into what guests we could have on Fridays. I think on Fridays we're going to do a lot of AMAs, and maybe we could actually have a tax in here, especially as we get towards the end of the year and everybody's kind of thinking about those type of things, about how are different things classified. I think that would be good. But just so this Spaces, we're going to do this every day, Monday through Friday, at least Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, doing it here in Spaces. And on Thursday and Friday, most likely, we're going to do this exact same conversation, but over on the Traderverse board. So make sure you head over to the Traderverse Discord and join that server, so that you can be up on that and be a part of that, especially if we were to have good things like AMAs on Fridays, where you could learn from an actual expert. I'll be over there kind of, running the AMA, but the expertise and the knowledge would actually come from the expert that we were speaking with. And then on top of that, make sure you're following the account that I'm speaking from right now. I'm normally at Voice of DeFi. That's my Twitter handle, but the Traderverse account, you need to follow that so you can make sure that you are in these spaces, because we're going to do them every day at this same time. And Monday through Wednesday, we will have Christine in here with us. And she's got such a good following, brings such a good amount of expertise into this as well. So you don't want to miss her in here. Definitely Monday through Wednesday. And then you can head over on Thursday and Friday, and catch us over on Discord as well. But great comment there about how things will be treated tax-wise, because there's definitely a lot of, I heard somebody say they don't even know if it'd be a taxable event moving, from ETH to an NFT, to an ETH NFT. That really got my mind turning. That really got.
How do we even sleep at night now?
Right.
I went ahead, and also it was funny that you guys brought this up, because I had posted something up on the top of the chat, and it's from James, CPA, and he's looking into the bill, and he's commenting about all of this conversation that we're having with the government talking about digital assets, and comparing NFTs to cash, and that it would be a felony and whatever, and how this is going to move forward, like how it is for us as investors. So I went ahead and messaged him. So it's funny that you guys brought this up, because I was like, we'd love to have you on the space, because he's digging into this and actually, breaking it up and explaining it. So I told him that we'd love to have him on. So if not today, I'll definitely make sure we get him on this week so we could all know.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea, Christine. Because and just to kind of sum up with the conversation, we do this Monday through Friday, and our DMs are all open. And if you have like a certain subject that you want us to talk about and have a town hall, like please reach out because we want to know what people want to learn about and have conversations about. Because we could have the same conversation over and over and over again, or we could expand our knowledge and get better. And I think that's the name of the game. And for for the for Turbo's kind of comment about like the professionals, and I believe Darren said something as well. I spoke with a SVP of Citibank actually just the other day, and he was asking me these simple questions and some of the more complicated questions they don't even know. So like where these tax implications or what they can and can't do. So like these spaces are crucial because we're getting a leg up on them. And I've said this before in other spaces is like we're early. I think that's like the sentiment that a lot of people like to bring is that we're early. And just like many of us were in Bitcoin before there was any sort of adoption by any sort of company or institution or ETF, that's going to be kind of the reigning sentiment, I think, going forward. So doing our own research and finding these coins and communities and tokens that are going to be long lasting ones with great utility or longevity to them, before anybody else, we as retail have that edge on big money, which is like a complete flip to what the stock market is. So those are just my 2 cents. So thanks. Let's continue this. Like we have a bunch of hands, so let's do it.
Thank you for your 2 cents. And yeah, stop bringing up that evil fiat currency with your cent talk. Your 2 sats, right? Let's see who we do have several people with their hands up. Ari, how are you? Hope I've said that.
Good. How are you? It's A-Rod, but thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah, did you hear something that got some spark going in your brain and you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about Ethereum, and I know the gas fees are an issue, but like one issue for me with Polygon is I have to bridge that over, and that's already an issue. It's almost worse than gas fees for me. But long term, long term with Polygon too. It's like you're not going to get worth nothing when you're investing in a Polygon project compared to Ethereum. Not a financial advice, but I do believe Ethereum is going to be 100K one day, whereas Polygon's not going to be maybe $10. So it depends what you're going for with NFTs. If you're trying to have people get sales or you're trying to have people invest in you. In my case, I have people investing in me. So I mean, it just depends what people are going for. But that's just all I want to say. Like bridging with Polygon is so annoying compared to just buying a gas fee and actually investing in it. But that's all I have to say. I appreciate it.
I mean, that's a good thought, but I mean, they do got to fix these gas fees though. Like, I mean, as
Facts.
Ethereum goes up, I mean, what are going to happen with the gas fees as well?
Facts. I appreciate you, Dom, and I do believe in 2.0. Like I don't think they're gonna make a bad name for themselves. I do believe in that still. I know it's been a year since I've been trying to get that out, but I do feel it's promising for us. So I'm still on to that.
I mean, there's a breaking point for the gas fees. I mean, what is it? Is it $200 where people, scream and say, I'm not doing it anymore? It's not because we've hit that. But there's a breaking point somewhere. Is it $500? Is it $700? Somewhere along the way, people are like, no, I'm moving to another chain. We're doing all of our business at another chain. So something has to be done.
It's been thousands of dollars at some points as well, and people had no idea they were like, I have a friend that got into it and he had no idea. He minted during the launch and he paid $6,000 worth of gas fees and had no idea. He thought that was just like normal or something, and then he was super bummed out after, and now it almost scared him out of this space.
I mean, I feel that, but for me, like big time with Ethereum and Polygon, I can actually monetize my music on there. Whereas on Polygon, people cannot use it for anything they want to do with it, So that's a big thing I'm not doing Polygon for. I want people to use it for commercial reasons or add it to their NFT or whatever too. So that's why I'm big ETH.
Yeah. And I'm big ETH too. But I want to know, is it simple for them to fix the gas fees? Like, is it something that is just up to them and they can do it easily, or would it be something completely, it's super hard for them to do?
It's not easy, but like I mean, they're moving their complete model to proof of stake, which when there's it's the second largest cryptocurrency, with billions and billions and billions of money, you have to kind of be careful of you can't see, hey, will this work? They need to be really certain that what they're doing when they fork, that
it will be right pretty much the first time, because there could be huge complications. I know that Vitalik is probably one of the smartest men on earth. I actually have the pleasure of knowing some of his like his first acquaint or friends or whatever, and they're really smart people, and they're saying like if someone can figure it out, it's that guy, and he understands the problems. And I don't think he anticipated ETH to be the success it is today. And I think that's the kind of the coolest thing about this community is that we ran with it. We're like, heck yeah, let's do this. Like, this is amazing. So yeah, it's not as like a point and click, like change a couple lines of code. There definitely is, the whole foundation is working on it, and I'm confident they'll be able to do it. And to say about Polygon, I like Polygon. I would disagree with you a little bit. I mean, I understand why, and like I think Steve Jobs actually said you should be able to buy anything in 3 clicks, and it's not with Polygon. And I actually spoke with a couple people from Polygon, both in NYC for the event and then before, and a lot of changes happening in the Matic network, like a lot of changes. And there's a lot of projects a lot of companies. There's like speculation that Coinbase's NFT platform will be using Polygon. So that's speculation, obviously, which would be huge. So if Polygon can also, let me turn it back. Polygon is doing what ETH2 is setting out to be. So if Polygon can make it simpler as a scaling solution for people, and people can get acquainted with Polygon, and they can put a community around Polygon, I see them having great success. But it's a big but, because I agree with your sentiment is that it is complicated.
It is a bit.
So, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, were you about to say something?
Oh, yeah, no, I was going to just chime in on what Christine talked about. Is it actually easy? So I wanted to highlight a concept that I don't know if a lot of people know about. It's called the blockchain trilemma. So very briefly, what that states is, at the moment, it is a fact that no blockchain can offer all three of these at once, just two of these. That's decentralization, speed, and security. So the reason I'm bringing this up is with ETH 2.0, it would be the first chain that successfully solves the blockchain trilemma, as in they offer both speed and security while offering decentralization. And like the reason Matic and Solana, no, Matic is actually a layer 2 solution, but all the other blockchains which are heavily centralized, like Binance Smart Chain, Solana, all of these are heavily centralized. And what happens, because they're centralized, and I don't know if a lot of people know, but Solana network is still on the beta version. So when they're attacked, it is a lot easier to break through their security on attack. That's sort of why also very recently Solana, the whole network went down. Arbitrum also went down. And, Matic has all of these bridging issues and stuff like that. It's layer 2. So my point is that ETH 2.0 is going for a very comprehensive solution. It's going to have a series of techniques that's going to maintain its current decentralized model, sharding being one of them, while increasing the security and speed. So how that relates to gas fees, let me get to that like in a second. So basically, right now ETH can process only 13 transactions per second, right? So the more people want to make transactions a second, there's more congestion on the network, and that's why the gas fees are high. But if ETH shifts to 2.0 while maintaining its decentralization, it's going to be the go-to platform. But once it shifts to proof of stake, you can do 100,000 transactions in a second. So the reason I'm talking about this and emphasizing it is hard. It is very hard because this has never been done in blockchain history before. But when they do it, right, it is not just going to increase the speed of the network and is going to be the go-to blockchain, but it is also going to tremendously reduce gas fees. So it is definitely something worth waiting for. And Traderverse, you specifically mentioned, would people just count this as the cost of doing business? So with this outlook, you have so many developers and people with this same outlook or narrative in their mind. They know ETH is going to be the dominant network, so they're ready to pay that price now to build on it, especially if it's going to be something long term. It's going to be hard later on to move all of your assets from other networks or other chains back into ETH. But that's something that's completely different for creators, like Arya was talking. I have a completely different outlook. Maybe I can get to that another time. But yeah, with regards to gas fees and ETH, this is sort of where I see it headed. I mean, I do believe that even if ETH gas fees does remain this much, very soon it's going to become a norm among people who want to trade, who want to build on this network with the long-term perspective in mind.
Man, that's awesome. It's a good, yeah, all of your points are very good. I love that trilemma that you said of decentralization, speed, and security that was just mentioned. If ETH can figure all this out, and get the gas fees down and get that 100,000 transactions per second, man, what a beast of a project ETH will end up being. Better than anybody could have ever imagined. Well, we've just got a few minutes left here on today's Traderverse Moon Monday episode, but I've had somebody that's had their hand up for quite a long time. No one talks like Gaston. President Gaston is on. What's up?
Thank you. No worries. Hand is not tired. Uh, so the first thing I wanted to point out is Bitcoin. The talk we were having beforehand is I don't believe Bitcoin is currency. I think it's more of a declaration of independence. The white paper being the kind of the declaration itself and being executed by computers versus humans. I think it's really a new form of government as opposed to a currency. So that said, regarding gas prices, I think gas prices is more like Hollywood. If you want to be a blockbuster show, you want to have a blockbuster project, you got to basically pay the gas prices, and that's kind of the vetting system. So if you want to have a successful project and just be creative, you can be on Polygon and prove yourself. And then once you make enough money there, then you can kind of release a blockbuster project on Ethereum. So that's kind of my perspective. And I like the gas prices being high. It keeps away scammers. There's a proof of work kind of concept to it where you're putting a lot of money up front, like at least 3,000 or 1,500 to launch your contract, which means that you better at least get $1,500 in sales. So
Yeah, and I think another cool thing about the Matic network is that it is built upon Ethereum too. So like if a new project wants to be on Polygon and kind of like put their toes in the water, I don't think, and I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, Josh, you might be able to answer this better. It wouldn't be that hard to bridge it back into Ethereum and wrap it where it lives on both it would live on the Ethereum blockchain regardless. But where when you're ready and maybe ETH2 comes back out, you can be traded just on ETH and Matic. A successful project will try to bridge to every blockchain it possibly can. So.
Yeah, so my outlook on that, right? Like, I mean, I do see I'm an ETH bull, but I do love Matic because it has its uses. So recently I was talking to a singer, her name is Fifi Rong. She dropped a collection and she dropped it on Matic, but she dropped it on a platform that's EVM compatible, what means that the platform that you dropped it on is where all of your user base, even though it's on Matic, right? Right now it's on Matic, but your entire user base buys it over there, right? So if that platform is EVM compatible, later on you can shift it to ETH anytime you want. Bridging it is not going to be a problem. So from this perspective, for creators, it matters which platform you're dropping it on. So, but my other outlook is that, as a creator, it's not about how much people are willing to pay for your NFT. Depending on that, you decide to drop on ETH or Matic, But for example, Matic is a great spot to onboard so many people coming from outside crypto because, someone just stepping into crypto is not going to be ready to pay $450 for one NFT, And if you're a musician, you have a fan base of say 10,000, 20,000 people, all of them coming in would gladly be participating in the blockchain if it's user friendly and they don't have to pay too much of additional costs. And I think that is a great entry point of people into crypto. And I mean, just consider that musician does blow up, and they'll be selling that for a lot more. And as Ari pointed out, then have enough money to participate in the NFT space on ETH. But again, I think when ETH 2.0 comes out, that will change like the way the whole blockchain works. I mean, I don't even have any idea how it's going to play out or when it's going to happen. But one thing I am positive that it's going to be revolutionary because adoption is anyways kicking in, right now. And with proof of stake coming in, you will just be able to have so many people participating in DeFi, NFTs, everything, And but with regards to Matic, I do love Matic. It's a great network. And I do see, like, I've also heard a lot from the founders and the core team. So they're going to constantly be evolving Matic as to still serve as a layer 2 solution for a lot of projects building up there. So that's something that's possible. And yeah, as time goes by, even the bridges from one network to another blockchain is completely possible. But as you pointed out, good projects with a lot of money, they can be cross-chain, but it does cost a lot of money. So that's why smaller projects would likely, be on one network, be successful there, and then move to another network.
I agree with that. The biggest projects seem to go on ETH, and a little bit of that because I think there's so much money in ETH. If you see like a new token launch happen on the Binance chain versus ETH, you'll see a wide difference in how much money they're able to raise. Because on the ETH-based projects, oh man, there's sometimes millions of dollars that's being able to put together, as to where on a BSC chain project, it's just small dollars in comparison. So there is major money on ETH, and I think people that are moving around, big amounts of money, maybe $100, $200 of a gas fee doesn't really bother them. One thing that another person said is they like the gas fees being high because they feel like that kind of filters out on its own scammers. And I think that's a really good point. Now, I may not like it because I don't like to pay $100 and $200 gas fee, but it does have that filtering effect. If I'm going to scam somebody, I'm not going to do it if it costs me $200 just to move a little currency around. So yeah, it does. It does have that ability to have that own that filtering out to keep the scammers away. So guys, it's been a great hour. We're going to do this hour every day at this time. So we'll start up at I guess it would be 17:30 UTC. And well, I'll make sure I have that right after the time change, but it's an hour before now, and we'll last for about an hour each day. Make sure you come and join us. Follow the account that I am talking from. Also on Traderverse, just so you know, this is a upcoming social network that will be tailored for traders in both stock and crypto markets. Also, it'll have more than that. You'll be able to aggregate and process your fundamentals using AI. You'll have a lot of different things that you could get in several places around the web, but all in one place, in one social network. And in the meantime, you've got myself and Christine to be able to speak about various crypto and stock topics daily. So make sure you follow this account so you can participate in this. I'm just here to facilitate the conversation. Christine's just here to facilitate the conversation. You guys are bringing the heat and bringing the knowledge. So I appreciate every one of you that were able to do that. If you had your hand raised and you wanted to speak today and you didn't get a chance to, there's still tomorrow. So make sure you meet us, like I said, about an hour previous from now. You have 23 hours now to next comment.
Yeah, and make sure you guys follow everyone up here. I enjoyed the conversation, and we will do it again tomorrow. And this will be always crypto and stocks and everything else. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure to follow everyone up here, and we love you guys. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Peace, guys. Later.
Hit me up, Dom.